Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Mark Wasikowski, the head baseball coach at Oregon. How's it going, Waz?
Outstanding. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. So back for another season. I know, obviously, getting ready to go. I know the season doesn't start for a few more weeks. Obviously, practices have already probably gotten underway. So what's the outlook obviously is the new conference for you guys. And now I can officially say the first thing I said when you came on here, welcome back to the Big Ten. For you, obviously Oregon's new to the Big Ten, but you are not new to the conference.
No, I've been in the Big Ten. I was head coach at Purdue for 3 years. I was blessed enough to get a chance to be able to work out there. The late Morgan Burke hired me, and I got a chance to work for their athletic director currently, Mike Babinski. Great man. Great times. My daughter's still in the pharmacy school at Purdue. Hi, Joelle. But she's a fifth-year pharmacy student there at Purdue. And so, yeah, we've still got a lot of friends out there in West Lafayette, and specifically our daughter is pretty close to us. So, yeah, we have appreciated our time at Purdue, and now Oregon's we're in the Big Ten, not back in the Big Ten, but we're in the Big Ten and looking forward to the challenges with that. It should be great.
Yeah. And obviously I know you have a lot of connections, just not at Purdue, but a lot of other places, because I think you have when it was the 14 teams, you had been, I think, everywhere because we were checking on it. So I think you've been to all 14 schools during your time in the Big Ten with Purdue.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I think I've seen that league, and I've seen now a few different leagues. I've been all the SEC places, coached there for 3 years at the University of Florida and 10 years at the University of Arizona. And of course, now they're in the different league, Big 12, but in the Pac-10, Pac-12 days at Arizona and Oregon as an assistant, now Oregon as a head coach. It's been an awesome path, and I don't have any complaints. I've gotten a chance to coach against some really great players and coach a lot of great players myself. And so it doesn't go without mistake along the way. I've clearly made my share of mistakes with saying something stupid or doing something stupid. And but still, yeah, I've been blessed enough to get this opportunity to be able to coach college baseball every day. It's just crazy fun.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about what the Ducks are expected to do this year. What do we got coming up in these first few weeks of practice as you guys get ready to welcome Toledo on the 14th of February?
Yeah, we're excited. Old club, basically a lot of faces that are the same faces we've seen now for a couple of years. We took the program over. The first year we had the program over was a COVID year, and then we've been to a regional, super regional, and now here we are for starting the 2025 season. It's a lot of familiar faces out there, a lot of guys with a bunch of at-bats. It looks like a really, on a piece of paper at least, looks like a really, really strong club, and we're excited to tee it up.
All right. Let's go around the diamond. Let's tell the audience who's. I know there's going to be a lot of returners, so let's kind of talk about them and see who's back for Oregon. Maybe some of the new faces you may not know.
Well, I mean, starting at catcher, you've got Chase Meggers. He's a tremendous hitter, tremendous player, all around catcher. Several of these guys had a chance to sign pro last year, and we were able to keep them, thankfully. But Chase is one of them. Had a really good summer in the Cape Cod League. Just a stud of a kid. His dad played minor league baseball, but he would be probably the favorite right now at catcher. Although there's some depth there too. You've got a couple other kids there. Anson Arrows and Zach Justice, both returners. Anson's flexible and has been a starting left fielder for us, and I think you'll see him in our lineup on a daily basis. He's a really skilled, talented player, whether it's catcher, center field. He's played first base for us even. I mean, he's just a tremendous kid and a great player. And then you've got two other freshmen back there as well that are really sky's the limit. Berkeley Mabius out of Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas as a freshman is as skilled a player as you'll find. Same thing with Cohen Nikolai, who got both those kids had tremendous draft interest last year, and we were able to get them to campus. Both really good players, and I'll expect to see those guys in the lineup in some capacity. But and then working our way around the diamond, Jacob Walsh returns. He's been a kind of a fixture at first base. He's the all-time career home run leader here at the University of Oregon. He's a big, strong, physical first baseman. Dominic Hellman behind him or with him. I don't know if it's behind or with. Both are tremendous hitters. both can hit the ball out of sight and are going to be big pieces of this thing this year. And, I mean, that's just when you go around the infield, you got several pieces, a lot of depth, whether it's Drew Smith, second, short, and third. A lot of guys who play a lot of spots. Drew Smith, I think Maddox Maloney at shortstop, who's ended the year last year playing short. I would think he would probably be the front runner for shortstop for sure. Carter Grotti started every single game for us last year and was a tremendous infielder defensively. He's back for us. He can play a lot of spots on the infield. He played third for us majority of the time last year, but he can play anywhere. And, Ryan Cooney, really good player. Jack Brooks, really good player. Ryan Cooney, as a freshman last year before he got injured, broke the freshman home run record, and then he got hurt, and then Maddox Maloney came in, and he broke the freshman home run record that Ryan set in the same year. A lot of talent there. A lot of talent there. Really excited about that group. Those guys are good kids and very skilled players. And the outfield's a bunch of old guys. You got a bunch of old guys running around out there. Jeff Hurd, tremendous player. He's back. He said no to a lot of pro offers. Mason Neville, our leadoff guy last year, and in the Pac-12 conference, second half of the year last year, he was the number one player in terms of slugging percentage in the league. He's been projected as high as a first-round pick. He's a high-end talent. Anson Arrows, and then we also have a transfer in named Parker Stenson, who Parker is from Indiana State. Old player, a lot of at-bats, tremendously skilled. And so we're blessed in a lot of different areas around that field. It's a good balance of left and right and a lot of at-bats.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about the mound. Who are we, what's pitching looking like?
Well, great question. We've got Grayson Grensel and Ryan Featherston, two probably the more polished returners. Same with Toby Twist. Toby Twist, those three guys returned, polished guys, really good. They can factor in a lot of ways, starting guys out of bullpen, but Grayson was a starter for us at the end of the year. Toby's been a starter, Ryan more or less in the bullpen, but those three guys as returners, very solid guys. They'll be big pieces of this thing. Jason Wright's transfer from St. Mary's, high-end arm, 6'9", 6'11", don't know, maybe 7'6", who knows? There'll be a lot of big fish storytelling on Jason Wright's height. Bottom line is he's a really good pitcher. He's got great stuff. He can run it up there with the best of them. He could be a day one draft pick. He's a high-end talent who's got a chance. Also, a kid who's new to our program, Santiago Garcia, comes in from Central Arizona College. They did a tremendous job developing Santiago to the point where they could push him on to the college level and to Oregon. And he's made a big splash in what we're doing here. He's a low to mid 90s fastball guy from the left side with tremendous off speed. And so he's got a chance to be really good. There's several other guys, but in the back end of that bullpen, probably one of our the guys that Coach Hawksworth really developed at a strong level is Cole Stokes, sophomore, 6'6", 230 pounds-ish, super athletic, super twitchy, up to 98 with a heater, and it's got a ton of run from his arm slot. He's got a really good slider. So, amongst others, there's other names I haven't hit on. It definitely looks like it's at least a step better than it was a year ago from that super regional run.
Yeah. Okay, so this schedule is going to look a little bit different, obviously, with Oregon now in the Big Ten. Of course, of course it starts. Of course, you start with Toledo. A lot of you're in Eugene for basically, I'd say probably about until the 4th of March, starting on the 14th, and then you get to go to some places that you haven't been to in a while, including Ohio State, Michigan State. And then Iowa City as well.
Yeah, and Maryland. Don't forget about them.
Yep, Maryland too. Yep, I knew
they've been freaking good, and I know they're going to be good again this year. Rick Heller's a tremendous coach. Those guys, Jake Boss, these guys they've had success. Michigan State might have. Well, they're not might, but they're going to have one of the best pitchers as a starter. They got a big left-hander over there, Michigan State, that's as good as anybody in the conference. He's a stud, and so we've got some tests. There's no doubt about it that, at least two of the teams I would think that we're going to play before we start our conference here at home are going to be predicted to win their leagues as well. So for us, we're trying to get a bunch of teams in here that First off, 36 home games, and teams that are projected to win their league and going to win north of 30 games in their seasons. I think we're accomplishing a lot of those goals. Travel's going to be more than it had been in the past, and yet the administration here has recognized that. Now they're going to open up and allow us to charter to many of these opportunities, and that's tremendous. For Rob Mullins, Eric Rodell, who was my sport administrator, is now the athletic director at Villanova. He just took that job. Those two guys, have really invested in baseball at Oregon, and I'm blessed to be able to work not only here but for those guys. They're just great people. And Rob's a baseball guy. His son's a heck of a baseball player too at the university at Michigan. And so, with those guys being our bosses, they're baseball people. They understand the challenges of the travel, and they've made adjustments to where we're going to be able to not only survive, but we should be able to excel with the things they're doing for us.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was just about to ask about that because it's going to be a little bit more travel when you head out east, and obviously, I think it's going to be back and forth as well. You talked about what typically was the method of travel for you guys, and the difference now, because I don't usually for most of the games, I don't think you took charter flights.
No, we didn't. We just fly commercial. I think as a staple across the country, most teams just fly commercial and get where you got to go. And we'll still do some of that. We're not going to need to charter to go down to Los Angeles. It's pretty easy. You just get on a plane and go down there, direct shot.
Yeah.
But when we're going across the country now, especially when you're talking about getting student athletes either there to where you can prepare for a series, or getting them home to where they can get back in class by Monday and not be rolling into Eugene on Sunday night, Monday morning at 3 a.m., something stupid like that. You're going to need to take more aggressive steps, which means you're going to need to spend more money. And our administration has decided to do it. They want to tee us up for success, which I appreciate. They could have gone the other way, and they could have said the heck with it. You got to fly commercial and on each one of these legs, and that would definitely be a detriment to our students, that our baseball players here. They just wouldn't be fresh and ready to go in class on a Monday morning. And now we're going to be able to basically land in Eugene, in some cases before the sun even goes down, on a Sunday, when we're coming from the East Coast, which is kind of crazy to think of. But yeah, that's what they're allowing us to do, which should give our guys an opportunity to still do very, very well in the classroom.
And Oregon State, of course, is on the schedule as well. What's it like to maintain that rivalry?
Well, I mean, there's that piece of it. You always want to rivalries. Pat Murphy, who's manager of the Brewers, he said it years ago, and I agree. He's at Arizona State. He was a hell of a baseball coach in college. I mean, the guy had loaded teams, guys on the bench that are playing in big leagues for 5-10 years. Nuts. I mean, the guy's really smart, really good, and he used to say it all the time. A rivalry only counts when both teams are good. And so our objective is to be good, right? And right now, Oregon and Oregon State are both good. And so you got a good rivalry. And so to play good people is an objective of mine, right? You always want to play good people. And right now, both Oregon and Oregon State are good. And shoot, I don't even know if it's arguably, but you can clearly make a comfortable case that says Oregon and Oregon State have been two of the best, or maybe even the two best teams on the entire western part of the United States here now. And happen to be just two teams in Oregon that are about 40 minutes apart, 45 minutes apart. Pretty cool, right? And so if that's the case, and both teams are really, really good, let's just keep pumping these games out between the two, because it's great for national interest, and obviously local interest is through the roof right now in our program and in their program for sure.
Yeah, and of course we're just a little under a month before games begin. What is this next month going to look like as you guys prepare for when Toledo does come to Eugene?
Well, I mean, it's just preparation, right? And so you're out there every day. We don't, unless we get some sort of freak weather event or something like that. I mean, we're out there on the field every day, and we're playing and getting them ready. We've got, on the average, as soon as the practice hours allow, which is basically in a week, once those practice hours allow us to go to a full allotment hours, you're going to see, probably 3 scrimmages a week plus practice hours. And it's just about preparation. We're already in the weight room. We take the weight room very seriously at Oregon. That size component, strength, mobility, flexibility, those kind of things, really big factors for us, our sports science and analytics division with Brett Thomas leading the charge of that thing. That's a big deal for us. We've got a ton of technology that we use when it comes to sports science and body movements and motion capture stuff. We don't want to be trailing anybody, whether it's in pro ball or in college ball with that. And we take a big investment, we put it in there, we take a great amount of pride in what we're doing there. And so those things are big for us right now and a ramp up before the season.
Absolutely. All right, Waz, thanks for the time as always, and best of luck this season for you guys.
Keep killing it, Case. We need a big O back there on the back wall there of your deal. That would be freaking awesome. Yeah, we'll get you a flag or something back there.
Absolutely. All right.